Welcome to the JBJ Management Podcast. My name is Willis Johnson, and today our guest is I'm trying to think of the right title. I understand what the right technical title is to be the guy at the Dallas Regional Chamber. But Dale, you've been at this so long. Dale Petroski is our guest. But Dale, you've been at this so long now, and you have a storied background. You baseball and the Reagan White House, and then you've taken this Dallas Regional Chamber to be the best in America. So I'm still trying to think of what is the title for King Dale. That's it, King Dale. Thank you for being here today. We
Willis,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Always love being with you. Thank you.
How does it feel, though, when you first found out that the Dallas Regional Chamber was considered America's best? What happened?
That was quite a thrilling moment. You know, what we did is that we decided to apply because the Association of Chamber Executives are the ones who judge this.
Sure.
And they require all this information you have to get together. It's hard, you know. It's like
like playing golf.
It's like playing golf. It's like a second job to your other job, just getting all this stuff together. You want it done right. We turned it all in, and then we found out we made the final three. And then
What are the cities?
The other cities were Boston and I think it was Charlotte.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so anyway, then there's a 45-minute interview and with you as CEO and pick somebody else on your team. And so I picked Angela Farley, who's our Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer, really does a fantastic job, my right hand.
Right.
And we went through the interview process, and I felt pretty good about it. You know, it happens at the when they all come together for the convention, and this was 2 years ago in Indianapolis. And so that night, or the next night, was the award. The awards were being presented, and there are 4 different levels of chambers, from the smallest chambers to the largest chambers, and we were in the largest category. So they start by doing the smallest chambers first, and I realized I was very confident at the table. I was excited. I thought we were going to win. And then I realized that of those 3 chambers in each category, 2 are losers. Two are not going to win. And I'm sitting around waiting for the final category, and all of a sudden it struck me that we might not win this thing. And I whispered to Jessica here, who was sitting next to me, I said, we might not win. I never even considered that. And then they called our name, and of course it was such a thrill, and it was a thrill for my team because they work so hard. It was a thrill for our community and all of our partners like you in our community, because we do this. We don't do this alone. We do this with our partners. We walk alongside our partners, and it was just a thrilling day, and it's been really wonderful ever since to see the reaction to it.
It had to feel like the Super Bowl or the World Series, and I know I say that because you're a big baseball guy, and so did that feel like that you knocked it out of the park on that one?
Yeah, you and I both like competition,
right?
And so we're sports guys. So yeah, I mean it's fun having a scoreboard and looking up, and you've won the biggest prize there is, and we feel very good about it.
What makes the Dallas Regional Chamber competitive with New York, with Chicago, with LA, Boston, all of these other cities? What is it about the Dallas Regional Chamber that makes them competitive? And part B to that question, what makes this area competitive to those cities?
Yeah, well, what makes our chamber competitive, I think, is that we do things that other chambers don't do. For example, we after George Floyd was killed 4 years ago, we leaned in very hard on diversity, inclusion, and community engagement.
Right.
Because we know that we live in one of the most prosperous communities in America, and right next to it is one of the poorest communities in America. Okay, and we want to make sure that everyone in this community has a chance for a good education, a good job, a good life, to participate in the prosperity going on around them. And so we doubled down on that. And we have a fantastic team led by Tasha Heron-Bruff, who came from the community. She worked for Habitat for Humanity. Her father's a well-known real estate leader in southern Dallas County. And she is just fantastic in terms of keeping her ear to the ground and then bringing us what the community needs or wants, kind of thing. And then also telling our story into the community of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So diversity, inclusion, community engagement is very important. So is public policy. The idea of a strong business climate, low taxes, reasonable regulations, and welcoming. And sometimes what we get wrong in Texas is the welcoming part, And then the third part is really all of our talent. It's our young kids from pre-K through 12, community college, 4-year schools, grad schools, plumbers and pipe fitters who need to be skilled and reskilled and upskilled. Everybody's got to have skills and some knowledge so they can do all the jobs that need to be done here. And so it's sort of a holistic approach. Every one of those areas touches the other area. We work I call it a team sport. Everything we do is a team sport at the Chamber, where we're all sort of in this together and working alongside each other and helping each other out.
But you go on these mission trips. I was fortunate to be on one of those trips with you in London and Paris. But you do this all the time, Dale. You're selling the Dallas Regional Chamber. You're selling the Dallas area all the time. When you're overseas, what are you saying that makes people want to come here?
I'll give you an example. Mike Rosa, who's our Senior Vice President for Economic Development, at this moment is with Governor Abbott in Asia. They're on a trip right now to Japan and Taiwan and Korea, and they're selling. And Mike is one of the best salespeople you'll ever run across. What we sell is this, largely. What companies are looking for when they're thinking about moving their businesses from somewhere else to somewhere else is talent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you think about, let's stop there. We're the 4th largest market in the country. New York has got a lot of talent, a lot of people, not a good business climate. Los Angeles, number 2, a lot of talent, but high taxes, not a great business climate. Chicago, number 3, a lot of people, a lot of talent, not a great business climate, high taxes.
Wow.
Dallas, a lot of people, a lot of talent, great business climate. So if you start going down the list, all you have to do is stop at number 4, and that's Dallas-Fort Worth, because we have a lot of talent and low taxes and reasonable regulations, and people start paying attention. And then once you've got their attention, you can have a great quality of life here. You can live in a nice area. You can send your kids to good schools. The traffic is not as bad as Los Angeles or Houston or New York or Chicago. We got 2 great airports here that can take you anywhere in the world. Really, DFW can take you anywhere in the world, and Southwest Airlines can take you anywhere in the United States in a couple of hours because we're in the central time zone. We're out of the snow, so Chicago is in the central time zone too, but they get a lot of snow and it slows a lot of things down. So we are really the beneficiaries of great geography. We're in the southern United States, equidistant to both coasts, equidistant in North America from Mexico City and Toronto. We're right between Mexico City and Toronto. So, and then just tech is becoming a big thing here. Biotech is becoming a big thing here. And so we have the tried and true AT&Ts of the world and American Airlines and Texas Instruments and McKesson moves in, the 7th largest company in America, pharmaceutical logistics. But also now biotech. Lyda Hill bought Mobil Oil Building, and people are just starting to all go there to share information about biotech. So I think Dallas is about to become a biotech hub as well.
Dale, when you think about Dallas, you think about leaders and mayors. The regional chamber has worked well with all of the mayors. Our current mayor has not been as much of an advocate for the regionalism as opposed to Mayor Rawlings or Mayor Leopard or Mayor Kirk. How do you deal with, and it's not just Mayor Johnson, there have been others, several council members. Let's think about Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. How do you deal with that conflict?
I'll tell you how we work, how Mike Rosa and his team works. We don't take a dime from the city of Dallas or a dime from Dallas County. All of our money comes from our members. And we are like Luka. I mean, we are the point guard that passes to the community that can score the easiest, right?
Interesting.
Okay, so Plano is well set up with their Economic Development Corporation. Frisco is as well, and there are a number of others that are as well. Dallas had some work to do, so people like John Stevens and others have gotten involved in trying to put together an economic development group that would do well. They made a great hire, in my opinion, of Linda McMahon, and she will lead that effort now. And I think they're starting to professionalize that area, and they're going to be able to compete more on an even playing field with these others than they have in the past.
There's a part of me, that agrees with Mayor Johnson when I hear him say, well, when you're in New York, you don't quite say you're from Plano. You don't say you're from Frisco. So where are you from? Dallas. Well, so Dallas is the drawing card. Dallas is the darling.
Yep.
But yet, when we look at the growth, Dallas is probably last in the area on growth. What can Dallas do to grow?
Well, I'll say this, that Mike keeps track of how many projects and how many headquarters move to the various communities in the DFW area. Last year, Dallas had 23 projects that landed here, and so they're
in the city limits.
Yeah, in the city limits of Dallas. So there's a story that's not being told as well, maybe, about how that works. Now, when those companies who say they're in Plano now and Frisco and other places, when they talk nationally or internationally, where are you? We're in Dallas.
Right.
It's like the Cowboys say. We're the Dallas Cowboys, right? So anyway, but I think Dallas is really starting to professionalize its team, and I think not to say they weren't before, but I think Linda's going to bring something new to it because she has such an understanding of the real estate, and I think that's a big part of it.
You had to have been in hog heaven, as an old country boy would say, a few years ago, though, when Mike Rawlings and Betsy Price worked hand in hand. And I remember taking that trip to London and Paris. So you seem to work well with both mayors. How does that work today for you?
Well, every mayor is different. Mike Rawlings had his style, right? His style was he used the bully pulpit.
He did.
Yeah, he knew how to keep people away from each other sometimes and bring them together other times. He worked hard from morning till night, and he was, he was a communicator. Mike's a communicator. He's a great marketer, a great communicator. He'd be texting you, he'd be texting me, he'd be trying to make things happen.
Yep.
And that was just his style, right? And that's a great style. And Betsy, I think, was more that way on the other side as well. Listen, Mayor Johnson has some gifts, some real gifts. He's a very smart guy. And he is focused on a few big things, including public safety.
Yep.
And
parks
and we're doing really well in those areas. That's just a different style of personality. You could say presidents of the United States have different styles. Bill Clinton had a different style, let's say, than our president before the current one.
Everybody struggles with that too. I get it. Dale, listen, as a minority business owner, our firm has been a member of the Dallas Regional Chamber several years, and we've seen the benefits. But there are minority firms who say, well, what am I going to get from it? What do you say to a minority firm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? why should they be members of the Dallas Regional Chamber?
Well, I like to say, as you know, and I love sports as you do, I like to say if you're a member of the Dallas business community, you're already on the winning team. But if you're a member of the Dallas Regional Chamber, you're inside the winning locker room. I mean, this is where our friends are. We celebrate a lot of victories here.
Yep.
We high-five a lot because we're winning a lot. But this is where our friends are. This is where we're going to make new friends. This is where we're going to do business with our friends. And you don't want to be outside that locker room looking in. You want to be inside that locker room along with everybody else who's celebrating and winning. Love the Dallas Black Chamber. Love my buddy over there, Harrison Blair. Love Rick, at the Hispanic Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Belong to the Black Chamber. Belong to the Hispanic Chamber. But you should also belong to the Dallas Regional Chamber. One, we're by far the largest chamber in all of DFW.
Right.
We're the number one chamber in the United States, and we work really closely with people. We have a diversity, inclusion, and community engagement professional team that works on this stuff every day, as does our economic development team. So don't think just because you're a minority business person that you need to belong to the Black Chamber, the Hispanic Chamber, the Asian Chamber, Indian Chamber. Please belong to them, but also belong to us.
And you got St. Marshall. How did that happen? My goodness. I mean, you're talking about a cheerleader. How did that happen?
She's
Dale?
fantastic. Sint, several years ago, asked me to co-chair the Dallas Mavericks advisory committee for the community.
Oh, so you made a deal.
So no, it wasn't a deal, but we started working closely together, and I think Sint saw my heart was where her heart is on a lot of things. And then as we started thinking about the future and who our next chairs are going to be, I asked Sint, and thank goodness she said yes.
She is a rock star.
She's a rock star. And, she was the chair of the North Carolina State Chamber when she was the president of AT&T North Carolina. So she knew about the chamber world, too, and she knows what it can do.
Two difficult questions. One, and you are addressing this. The state of Texas has now said DE&I is not what it's used to be for whatever reasons. But that's not where the Dallas Regional Chamber has been. How well did that go over when you said, I don't know about that, Governor Abbott, we're sticking with DE&I? How did that go?
I think it's important to really listen to people. And we had a meeting with the governor at one point. He challenged us on the word equity, and Sint, went toe-to-toe with him in a meeting. But then we thought, you know what, if we're going to get hung up over words, that's not good. So we changed the word from diversity, equity, and inclusion to diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. And I think that's taken some of the sting out of it for some people. And now they're willing to listen. They're willing to cooperate a little bit more because they're not so hung up on a word equity. I don't know what the hang up was. I could never follow the logic of it. But if that's going to trip some people up, let's not do that. Let's use words that people can agree are good words. And so I think that was part of it. The other piece of it is, look, you can say all you want about, fairness and opportunity, but until you give everybody opportunity, then we're not the kind of we're not the kind of community we want to be or should be or can be. And that's the way we look at it. So while some people are stepping away from it because they're a little fearful of being, having their hands slapped,
right,
we're doubling down.
Clearly you did.
Yeah.
Dwayne Dickensrider had something. He heads up this Southern Dallas task force for you. And there are a couple of members on our team who have had a chance to work with him. Dale, in 1974, there were three things that happened. And we only talk about two. The Cowboys left the Cotton Bowl, went to Irving. DFW Airport was completed, celebrating 50 years now. And 635 was completed. Now, I may get some of this wrong, but not much. There was, Josie Lane, Marsh Lane, Midway, the Tollway, Park Central, Preston, Hillcrest, Court, Central Expressway, Greenville, Abrams, Gilman, Centerville Road, Plano Road. You get my point. I'm
Sure.
going down the service road of all the service roads of 635. And you got into Town East Mall, just past Town East Mall. This is 1974. And there was a sign that said 635 ends. And never once do you turn left nor right. You just keep driving, and it becomes Interstate 20.
Mm-hmm.
And for roughly 20, 25 years, you could not exit the freeway. Finally, around 1988, 90, whenever that was, 2 service roads, Bonneview, Lancaster. But there were truck stops, massive truck stops that created dogs, prostitution, and drugs. There are no truck stops on the other side. Mike Rawlins called it, he looked at it and he said, we have got to do something about the southern sector. How does the Dallas Regional Chamber deal with the southern sector? You have this vast amount of land, according to Mayor Rawlins, large enough to put Atlanta and Boston in. 700,000 people, one grocery store for years.
Yeah.
But now it's a vast land that needs infrastructure and could be developed.
Right.
How do you deal with it?
We have at the board level, we have something called the Inclusion Council, and there are 4 areas of it. One is we call it diversity and leadership. That means, and board members can elect to serve on one of these 4 committees. In diversity and leadership, diversity at the board level, diversity at the C-suite level. Okay. Second is education, talent in our most challenged areas. Third is, we call it investment in underserved areas. Excuse me, Tasha's taught me investment in under-championed areas.
Yeah, she did change that word.
Which I love it, I love.
Right.
And the third area is public safety, because you need trust between your public safety officials and the public. But in that investment in under-championed areas, one of the things we worked really hard on was getting that new grocery store.
Yep.
In Redbird Mall.
Tom Thumb. That's right.
Tom Thumb. Very important. We have, last year, 2 new companies moved their headquarters to Mesquite area. And that is, they're both solar, Trina Solar and Canadian Solar. 3,000 jobs, 3,000 good-paying jobs. So when Mike Rose is out there talking about bringing companies to town, we're particularly showing them southern Dallas County, where our needs are the greatest. And I think that's one way that we target companies when they come here. We show that to them first, because land is fairly inexpensive. There's a talent workforce there.
Yep.
And these 2 said yes to it, and we were very proud of that. So we're continuing to work on things like Tom Thumb and grocery stores, healthy grocery stores in southern Dallas County, but also bringing jobs and companies here.
What does Dale do next? What's the next chapter for Dale Petroski?
I just want to keep on doing what I'm doing. Of all the jobs I've had, White House, National Geographic Baseball Hall of Fame, this is my favorite. And the reason it's my favorite, Willis, is it allows me to take all the things I've learned throughout my career, my life, and put them into one place. Public policy, it's leading a team, it's communicating, it's marketing, all those things that I love to do the most, I get to do in this job, and I get to do it with fantastic group of 60 teammates at the DRC, but also just wonderful people in this community who are in the business community like you. I mean, it's I have no plans to do anything else for a while.
And I don't know if people really know what a baseball aficionado you really are. You're a baseball guy. So the NBA, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is in this area this year. So here's the real tough question. This is going to be the toughest question anybody ever asked you in your life, Dale. I only need one name, the best baseball player in the history of Major League Baseball, according to Dale Petroski.
Wow. Well, I would say Babe Ruth, from the standpoint of the person that most people know.
Sure.
And I'd say that possibly Josh Gibson. So you could have Babe Ruth or Josh Gibson. I never saw Josh Gibson. Didn't know much about him until I got to the Hall of Fame. But Major League Baseball just allowed the Negro League stats to be included in Major League stats, and Josh Gibson now has the highest batting average lifetime over Ty Cobb. He's got 372 and Cobb's got a 367. So Josh Gibson, and he was a power hitter. So he's a power hitter who had 372. So I think Babe Ruth and Josh Gibson are probably two good answers.
Now I'm told Josh had maybe twice as many home runs as Babe. I don't know that, but it depends on
you never know
where those statistics come from.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see Josh play in the major leagues. He died at 36 years old.
Yeah,
36 years old.
He died very young. It's so sad. I mean,
so you've heard it here first now. Dale said the best baseball player in the history of the game, Babe Ruth / Josh Gibson. All right, one more tough question. Pitcher. I think I know your answer.
Well, I'll say this, that right here in our town, we have a pitcher named Clayton Kershaw who has the lowest career ERA in over 100 years. People don't know that. It goes back to Walter Johnson. He's 2.42. Walter Johnson, nobody has beaten that since Walter Johnson. Okay, so I would say of this generation, and having a record for 100 years is pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'd say Clayton Kershaw.
My mother was living, she'd say Bob Gibson,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't give a flip what the statistics
No, I know.
say. It was just something about Bob Gibson.
And I loved Bob too. And he was a wonderful guy. We were great friends. Yeah.
Dale, thank you so much for taking the time to
Thank
be on
you,
our
Willis.
podcast today. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Always great
You bet.
being with you. You're a great one.
We'll see you next time on the JBJ Management Podcast.